All right, we're going to cover the last two groups, or two kind of major classifications on your periodic table. First one up is metalloids. So definitely want to know what makes something a metalloid, which ones they are, that sort of thing. So metalloids are the ones that are in purple on the periodic table. A really simple sort of question will be something like, which metalloid is in group 16? Alright, so you go to your purple ones and you go down group 16 and you find that tellurium is the only one that's in group 16. Alright, but those are your metalloids. Use that color-coded table to your advantage, especially for simple questions like this one. Some other things that you'll want to know is just the general properties of metalloids as a group. Alright, so you've got, really they fall in between metals and nonmetals. Alright, so metals are super shiny, nonmetals are really dull if they're solid at all. Metalloids are somewhere in the middle. Some of them are towards the shinier end, some of them are towards the duller end, but they're, really a in the middle sort of group. They have moderate levels of electricity conduction, moderate levels of conducting heat, moderate ability for ductility, malleability. Alright, so if you're ranking according to any of these things, it's going to go metal, metalloid, non-metal, or depending on how the question's phrased, it might be the opposite of that, but your metalloid should always be in the middle. For example, put aluminum, sulfur, and silicon in order of best ability to conduct to worst. Alright, so for this particular example, you should be going from metal to metalloid to non-metal, because metals are the best, non-metals will be the worst, metalloids will be in the middle. So we've got aluminum, silicon, and sulfur. Alright, so to put those in the correct order, you'll go aluminum would be the best, to silicon being second best, to sulfur being the worst. Alright. I just pulled this out of the readings, that way you can have these for some notes, because I know you'll see some questions related to particular characteristics of a given metalloid. But here is something about each of them. For example, arsenic, which you've probably heard of before, and possibly arsenic poisoning. It is deadly to humans, but it does have applications in insecticides, pesticides, and fireworks. Antimony is actually found in lots of different compounds naturally, and it gets used in things like paints and batteries, matches, so like lighting a match, even some medicines have it in there. Germanium is what is called a semiconductor, as is silicon, but that means that there are certain conditions under which it can conduct, and then other conditions in which it can't. And this becomes very important to electronic devices, being able to control when a signal goes through and when one doesn't. Likewise, boron and silicon also, when they interact together, electricity can be conducted. Silicon is an additional semiconductor. All right, it's actually better than germanium. So if you've ever heard of, Silicon Valley and that being like the birthplace of computers and things like that, silicon was, learning of its semiconductor ability is what made it so that personal computers and cell phones and all the things that you have a handheld could exist, because we were able to make the processor chips and things like that so much smaller. Boron actually does not tend to exist on its own, but in compounds, but it does have a use as the green color in fireworks and some plant nutrients.